It's Mutai Maruping, the Commissioner for Economic Affairs at the African Union Commission. Honorable Ministers and Central Bank Governors, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me commence by making an apology for being unable to be with you on this memorable day because of a clash in the schedule. My responsibilities as the African Union Commissioner for Economic Affairs dictated that I have to attend to the AU-OECD event in Paris on this day. On everyone's lips these days is the global post-2015 development agenda formulation, to which the African Union member states contributed with one voice in the form of Common African Position on Post-2015 Development Agenda. We usually call it CAP, and CAP was formulated on the basis of a broad spectrum of consultations with the stakeholders. There are also other documents like Africa Agenda 2063, a 50-year development framework for the African continent, which we hope the summit will adopt at the January 2015 session. We also have heard about Africa Rising, which is a recognition of Africa's gathering momentum in economic growth and socio-economic development. So institutions such as MEFMI have contributed to this Africa Rising and will play a pivotal role in ensuring that both the adopted global post-2015 development agenda and Agenda 2063 are meticulously implemented by doing what they do best, so that Africa Rising is realized, it becomes a reality. That is to say, by building requisite capacity for Africa. And for MEFMI in particular, it would be in the area of financial and macroeconomic management. This has been and continues to be a major contribution. ESAIDAM, which is Eastern and Southern African Institute for Debt and Reserves Management, succeeded by MEFMI, was an idea whose time had come in 1994. It was and is needs-based and demand-driven. Broad consultations that were held with the stakeholders during the establishment ensured ownership, commitment, and therefore faithful and devoted implementation. We salute the visionaries of this idea, the governors, who were then, of course, my colleagues and teammates, such as Charles Kikonyoko, Leonard Tsumba, Adriano Afonso Malayan, Dominic Mulaisho, later Jacob Mwanza, and others, as well as those who came later to join the group, and the permanent secretaries for finance and development planning of the time. We really have to recognize them and salute them for this idea whose time had come, and for their determination to bring it to fruition. Whereas ESAIDAM focused solely on sovereign debt management and external reserves management, graduation to MEFMI added other fields of financial management and macroeconomic management. On the financial management side, besides external reserves management, there was also now financial supervision, payment systems, and other pertinent subfields in this area. And sovereign debt management program was expanded and deepened. A few key areas of macroeconomic management were also introduced. There was some resistance to this expansion and growth, as well as deepening, particularly from outside Africa. but the stakeholders, in their wisdom, proceeded anyway. Then there was considerable external pressure to have the institute taken over by the International Monetary Fund Institute. This too was successfully resisted. There was a thirst for views outside those of the IMF. MEFMI stakeholders preferred to keep their options open. Flagship approach of MEFMI, very unique indeed, really made a difference. The focus was always on hands-on approach, the how to, because it was assumed that principles would have been learned at the university. Follow-up of trainees in their workplace to ensure introduction and maintenance of best practice was unique and very effective. Monitoring and evaluation mechanism that involved both the trainers, the trainees and supervisors, and on-site observations or inspections was thorough. The intensive fellowship program was also unique and has produced outstanding experts and leaders in the areas that were covered. MEFMI fellows are now in leadership positions, both nationally and regionally, as well as internationally as well. MEFMI associates that recognition of people as MEFMI associates succeeded in galvanizing young talent among the African experts. It created a family of young talented resource persons under the umbrella of MEFMI. It created a reservoir of talent and expertise. Fora for ministers of finance and planning, and another for central bank governors and their deputies, as well as for permanent secretaries for finance and planning, was another innovative approach. It was an innovation. It ensured sharing of experiences, exchanging of views, testing of new ideas, peer-to-peer, under the guidance of highly experienced resource persons and mentors. Combined forum ensured that member states' financial and economic management national teams are on the same page, that they sing from the same hymnal. MEFMI's unique approach ensured high degree of quality and effectiveness. Towards the end of my tenure as the founding executive director of MEFMI, participants were required to share their strategies for introducing best practices with their peers under the guidance of the resource persons. This forced participants to think ahead, to think thoroughly ahead, really, how they were going to successfully introduce best practices and maintain them once they get back to base. I trust that this practice is still being followed. Allow me to pay tribute to instructors, resource persons, demonstrators, facilitators, mentors for MEFMI fellows. Permit me also to recognize institutions such as the World Bank Group, IMF, Federal Reserve Bank of New York, even the Federal Reserve Bank in Washington, D.C., the Bank of England, the Bank of Finland, Deutsche Bank, BIS, for their contribution by providing resource persons upon request. It would be remiss of me not to recognize in a special way the highly dedicated pioneering team at MEFMI, Dr. Peter Hall, Ms. Anna Msutse, Ms. Oye Levule, Dr. Ephraim Kaunga, Mr. Alpheus Ngube, Mr. Stephen Mkandawire, and the entire support team. These pioneers laid a firm foundation for MEFMI. Dr. Elias Ngalande, my successor, steered MEFMI safely through stormy waters. We owe him gratitude. We thank Dr. Caleb Fundanga for taking up the challenge of navigating MEFMI through narrow and rocky straits. We wish him well. Membership in MEFMI was deliberately kept down to manageable levels to enable field visits for monitoring and guiding progress, as well as for fact-finding and needs assessment on the ground. It was a good practice and should be continued. MEFMI, in the first 8 years of existence, followed results-based management, RBM, to the letter. There was always a clear strategic framework, action plan, and programs with goals, targets, and indicators, and as well as a clear, simple, practical, yet effective monitoring and evaluation mechanism. That is why MEFMI had loyal and faithful and ever-encouraging cooperating partners, of whom we are most grateful: the Netherlands, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and ACBF, among others. Member countries paid a large chunk of the budget right from the beginning, reflecting firm ownership and commitment. All paid their dues punctually and fully. These encourage cooperating partners as well. MEFMI, in my 8-year tenure, was a learning organization. I trust that it continues to be. It has to adapt to evolving terrain and dynamics. That is very important for making sure that MEFMI stays relevant. I eagerly look forward to MEFMI's 25th anniversary in 2019, and I pray that I live to see that day. Thank you all for the opportunity. God bless you all. God bless, protect, and guide MEFMI. I thank you.